All right, so um, dreams,
Oh,
they're this thing that everybody has, right? But we don't often stop and think about what they really mean. We're going to be taking a deep dive into that today.
yeah.
We're going to be looking at the work of Sigmund Freud, the guy who kind of kicked off this whole dream interpretation
We
thing.
really did, yeah.
We've got excerpts from his lectures, so
Huh.
we'll be going right to the source, and maybe we'll even learn something about our own minds along the way.
I'm always up for that. It's fascinating to see how Freud's ideas still resonate today. He was writing over 100 years ago, but he was really onto something when he said that dreams are more than just random nonsense.
Right. Like before Freud, people just kind of brushed him off.
Yeah, they thought it was just the brain doing its random thing. But Freud insisted that dreams are a window into our unconscious, all those desires, anxieties, things we might not even be aware of.
It's like even when we're sleeping, our minds are working overtime, huh?
Absolutely.
It makes you think, we spend so much time trying to avoid uncomfortable stuff when we're awake.
Right.
Could it be that dreams are like our mind's way of forcing us to face these things, even if it's in a roundabout way?
That's a really interesting thought. Freud believed that dreams are like coded messages from our deepest selves, disguised but still meaningful. And the process of encoding those messages, he called that dream work.
Dream work. Okay, so like it's not just a direct translation of our thoughts, it's more complicated.
Exactly. There are all these mechanisms at play, like condensation, displacement, representation, all working together to shape the dream.
So it's not like a dream dictionary where you can just look up, dreamt about a snake and it means this one thing.
Right.
It's more nuanced than that.
Much more. Let's take condensation, for example. It's one of the key mechanisms of dream work. It's like, imagine you have this huge jumbled box of thoughts, feelings, even memories you've pushed down. And your mind just grabs a handful and squishes them together into one strange image.
So that one weird thing in your dream, it could represent a whole bunch of different ideas.
Absolutely. It's like a symbol with multiple layers of meaning all packed into one.
Okay, so it's not a one-to-one translation. There's more to unpack. Didn't Freud have that example about the woman dreaming about an injection and the word descend? What was that all about?
Yeah, that's a great example. At first glance, it seems totally random. You've got an injection, you've got this word descend. What does it even mean? But through analysis, Freud figured out that descend could actually refer to both diphtheria and dysentery.
Ah, okay. Two different things.
Yeah, two illnesses that were actually relevant to a patient the woman was treating who'd been misdiagnosed.
So the word is holding two different but related ideas at the same time. That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. It shows how condensation can take multiple thoughts and feelings and compress them into a single dream image.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. But wouldn't this make dream interpretation really subjective? Like, how do we know we're not just making stuff up, projecting our own ideas onto these symbols?
That's where the skill of a good analyst comes in. And it's also where Freud stressed the importance of the individual's own associations. The symbols themselves might have common interpretations, but their meaning within a specific dream really depends on the dreamer's personal experiences and connections.
So it's not just about finding the right answer in some dream dictionary.
Not at all.
It's more about exploring the unique connections in your own mind.
Exactly. And that's what makes dream interpretation so fascinating. It's like a journey of self-discovery.
I like that. So condensation is one part of this dream work puzzle. What about displacement? I hear that term thrown around a lot too.
Displacement is sneaky, like your unconscious is playing a shell game with you. It shifts the focus away from something that might be too intense or uncomfortable to deal with directly.
So instead of dreaming about, say, a fight you had with your partner,
Right.
you might dream about losing your phone. Something
Yeah.
random like that.
Yeah. Exactly. The real issue is buried under a layer of seemingly unimportant stuff. And sometimes, the more absurd or random the dream, the more important it might be to dig beneath the surface.
Freud talked about this woman who dreamt about a botanical monograph, which sounds super boring.
Right. Like, who dreams about that?
But it turned out to be about her anxieties at work. Like her mind was trying to protect her from those feelings, even in her sleep.
It's like dream work is creating a buffer between our conscious minds and the raw, unfiltered content of the unconscious.
Okay, so we've got condensation and displacement. What's the third part of this dream work trio?
That would be representation. It's all about translating abstract thoughts and feelings into the language of dreams. Like your mind's a filmmaker, taking these complex internal experiences and turning them into something you can actually see and feel while you're asleep.
So instead of just thinking about an idea, you're experiencing it through images, sounds, the whole sensory package.
Exactly. One of the examples Freud gives is a dream about growing up and down stairs in a house. Seems simple enough, right?
Yeah, I've had dreams like that.
But he suggests that this up and down movement could represent anxieties about social status or even sexual relationships. So these abstract anxieties become physically embodied in the dream.
Wow. It's like our dreams are speaking in metaphors.
Exactly. And that's what makes dream interpretation so fascinating. It's about learning to decode those metaphors and uncovering the hidden messages they contain.
You mentioned that even the most absurd dreams have meaning. Makes me wonder about the emotions we feel in dreams.
Hmm.
Are they also disguised? Or are they more like a direct line to our unconscious?
That's a great question. And to really answer it, we need to dive into Freud's understanding of the unconscious itself. So, the unconscious, it's not exactly this neat and tidy place.
Right. It's not like our conscious mind, all logical and organized.
Exactly. It's more like a wild jungle full of raw emotions, primal urges, things we might not even want to admit to ourselves.
So you're saying that the emotions we feel in dreams, those are like unfiltered messages from this wild part of us?
In a way, yeah. But it's not always that simple. Because remember, dream work is still happening. Even emotions can be distorted, shifted around.
So you could feel totally freaked out in a dream about something that wouldn't normally bother you.
Exactly. Or you might feel nothing at all about something that should be really upsetting.
So how do we even begin to make sense of dream emotions? Like, do they even have any real meaning if they can be so messed up?
Oh, they definitely have meaning, but we have to remember that they're symbolic, just like the images in our dreams.
Okay, so they might not be directly related to what's happening in the dream.
Right, they could be pointing to something deeper, some underlying issue that our conscious mind is trying to avoid.
Could you give us an example?
Sure. Let's say you have this dream about being lost in a crowd, and you feel this overwhelming panic. On the surface, it might seem like a simple anxiety dream.
Yeah, like you're afraid of crowds.
Right. But what if that feeling of being lost is actually connected to a fear of losing control in your waking life?
Like you feel lost in your job or a relationship, something like that.
Exactly. The dream is using that feeling of panic to get your attention, to point you towards something that needs addressing.
So it's not just about taking the dream emotion at face value.
Nope.
You have to look for those symbolic connections.
Right. And that's where it gets really interesting, because by paying attention to those emotions, we can uncover hidden anxieties, desires, even past traumas we might not even remember.
That's kind of powerful stuff.
It is. It's like having a direct line to your subconscious.
You know, I've had this recurring dream about showing up to a big event totally unprepared. And I always feel this like intense shame and embarrassment in the dream. I
Interesting.
used to just think it was an anxiety dream, but now I'm wondering if it's about more than that, like maybe a deeper fear of failure or inadequacy.
It could be. And the fact that it's a recurring dream suggests that there's something significant there that your unconscious is trying to communicate.
So what do you do when you have those repeat dreams or symbols that keep popping up? Is it just about trying to figure out what these symbols mean?
Well, Freud believed one of the best ways to unlock the meaning of dreams was through something called free association.
Okay, what's that?
It's basically letting your mind wander, starting with a dream image or emotion, and seeing where your thoughts take you.
So kind of like a brain dump, just letting it all out.
Exactly. It's about embracing that kind of chaotic, unpredictable nature of the unconscious.
Sounds a little scary, to be honest.
It can be, but it can also be really insightful. The key is to not censor yourself, not judge your thoughts. Just let them flow.
So there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Nope. The goal isn't to find the right answer.
It's more about making those connections in your own mind.
Exactly. And those connections, they can lead you to some pretty amazing discoveries about yourself.
I'm seeing how this can be a really useful tool.
Mm.
But is it something you need a therapist for, or can you do it on your own?
You can definitely try it on your own. Keep a dream journal, write down those dreams as soon as you wake up, and then use those entries as a starting point for free association.
Like read back through your journal and see what comes to mind.
Exactly. And if you find yourself getting stuck or dealing with really tough emotions, then it might be helpful to talk to a therapist.
Makes sense.
Mm.
Okay, so we've talked about dream emotions and free association. What about the idea of dream symbols?
Now, this is where things get really interesting. Because while Freud emphasized that every dream is unique, he also noticed that certain symbols pop up again and again in all sorts of different people's dreams.
So like a universal dream language we all share.
It's almost like that. Like water often symbolizes birth or the womb, journeys often represent life's path, houses can symbolize the self.
It's like our unconscious minds are using these shared symbols to talk to us about these big universal experiences.
Precisely. And by understanding this language, we can unlock even deeper layers of meaning in our dreams.
It's like we're all connected on this deeper level.
Exactly. It speaks to the power of dreams, that they can transcend individual differences and connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
That's a really beautiful thought. We've talked a lot about the theories and concepts of dream interpretation, but I'm kind of curious to hear about some real-life examples.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Didn't Freud analyze some specific dreams in his lectures?
He did. He used those examples to really illustrate how his theories work in practice.
Okay, so what kind of dreams did he talk about?
Well, there's one about a man who dreamt of seeing his dead father politically active among the Magyars.
Okay, that sounds incredibly specific, and to be honest, a little weird.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so fascinating, because on the surface, it just seems random and nonsensical.
Right, like what does that even mean?
But through his analysis, Freud uncovers this hidden wish within the dream, a desire for the father to be seen as great and pure by his children even after death.
This is using this strange scenario to express a really deep emotion.
Exactly. And it shows us that even the most absurd dream images can hold profound meaning.
It really makes you wonder what other secrets our dreams might be holding.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of dream interpretation. It's a never-ending journey of discovery. The more we explore, the more we learn about ourselves.
I'm definitely ready to keep exploring. What other dream examples did Freud analyze?
There's one that's particularly striking because of the emotions involved. It involves a woman who dreams of seeing her sister's little son lying dead in a coffin.
Oh, wow, that's dark.
It is a disturbing image. And what's even more surprising is that in the dream, she feels no pain or sorrow.
Really? No sadness at all?
None. It seems counterintuitive, right? But that's the unconscious for you.
It's like it plays by its own rules.
Exactly. And through analysis, Freud discovered that the dream was actually fulfilling a hidden wish, a wish to see a man she loved again. And since the dream is granting her this wish, there's no need for sorrow.
So the lack of emotion in the dream is actually a clue to what the dream is really about.
Precisely. It highlights how dream emotions can be incredibly complex and often operate on a symbolic level.
I'm starting to see how analyzing dreams is kind of like detective work.
I like that analogy.
You got to look for clues, follow the threads, and be open to all sorts of twists and turns.
That's a great way to put it. And just like a good detective, a skilled dream interpreter needs to be observant, insightful, and willing to challenge their own assumptions.
So where do we go from here? How do we take all this information about dreams and actually use it in our own lives?
I think the most important thing is to just be curious about your dreams. Don't dismiss them as just random nonsense. Pay attention. Keep a dream journal. Try that free association technique. And most importantly, trust your own intuition.
Sounds like a journey worth taking.
It definitely is. And who knows what you might discover along the way.
We've talked about all these examples from Freud, but I'm still a little confused about this whole dream distortion thing. Like, if our dreams are trying to tell us something, why not just be direct about it?
It's a good question. And it goes back to what we were saying about the unconscious.
Right. It's this wild, untamed part of us.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's full of stuff that our conscious minds would find unacceptable, maybe even scary.
Okay, so if those desires were just laid out in front of us,
Yeah.
it'd be too much to handle.
Right. It could really mess with us psychologically.
So the dream has to kind of sneak those messages past our defenses.
Exactly. It's like it's speaking in code, using all these tricks to get the message across without setting off alarm bells.
Then one of those tricks is displacement, right?
Yep, that's a big one.
But how does that actually work in the dream? Like, how does it distort the message?
Well, let's say you dream about losing your wallet. On the surface, it seems like, okay, maybe you're stressed about money.
Right, a pretty common worry.
But what if the wallet represents something else entirely?
Like what?
Maybe it represents your sense of identity, your ability to navigate the world. Or maybe it symbolizes a relationship you feel is slipping away.
So the dream isn't really about the wallet at all. It's using that image to represent something much deeper.
Exactly. And that's how displacement helps create that distortion. It allows the unconscious to talk to us without our conscious minds getting too freaked out.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's making me think about that dream I mentioned, the one where I'm unprepared for this big event. Now I'm wondering if it's not really about being unprepared for the event itself, but maybe about a deeper fear of not being good enough.
That's a really insightful connection, and it shows how paying attention to those distortions can help us understand ourselves better.
So for our listeners out there who are trying to make sense of their own dreams, what's the most important thing to remember?
Don't dismiss your dreams. They're not just random nonsense. Pay attention to the details, the emotions, those repeat visitors, the symbols that keep popping up. And don't be afraid to ask yourself, what else could this dream be about?
It's like we're all carrying around these hidden messages waiting to be decoded.
Exactly. And the more we understand the language of dreams, the more we can unlock those messages and learn about ourselves.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. I've learned so much. Thank you for sharing your expertise.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, keep exploring that fascinating world inside your own minds. Keep a dream journal, experiment with free association, and see what you discover. You might be surprised by what you find. Until next time, keep diving deep.